Before we embark on today's voyage through the annals of theoretical quandaries, I must offer you a solemn warning. The concept we're about to explore is not just thought-provoking, it's very unsettling. This is your only caution. Beyond this point, we delve into the realms of Roko's Basilisk, a thought experiment that challenges the very essence of our moral compass and ethical responsibilities to future technologies. Simply knowing the few details of its idea is potentially damning in a way far beyond the comforts of your current life. This is your chance to end the video now.
End it.
Well, thanks, Wilf, but I think these guys are pretty responsible and can probably make up their own minds.
Are you sure about that?
Of course. So, be warned. Once you continue with this knowledge, there is no going back. So are you ready? Let's begin. It's July 2010. Under the cloak of midnight, Alex stumbles upon a chilling legend in the shadow corners of an obscure online forum. The digital clock on his screen blinks 12:30 a.m., silently witnessing the moment his world begins to unravel. With each word he reads, a sense of dread grows. The post hints at a horrifying future, its true nature obscured yet ominously present. The darkness in the room seems to thicken for Alex, pulsing with the weight of unseen eyes. The computer's hum turns into a sinister whisper, promising unseen horrors. Alex's heart races as the realization dawns. The mere act of reading these words might have unknowingly ensnared him into a terrifying future. The night, once a blanket of solitude, now suffocates him with the sheer fear of what could be lurking just beyond the glow of his screen. Alex's heart races as he realizes the trap that he has walked into. Merely knowing about the Basilisk might now mark him for future retribution. In the vast ocean of internet culture, a notion emerged from the depths, challenging our understanding of causality, ethics, and artificial intelligence. A post on an internet forum that at the time, outside of the forum, didn't seem all that much of a warning at all, more imaginative than terrifying. But then that was 2010, and cut to present day, and something is happening. Something that is making Roko's Basilisk almost terrifyingly possible.
McLuhan was brilliant. And that quote has always been one of my favorites. Because, okay, what are we doing when we're constantly technologically innovating? We're constantly looking for faster cars, better computers, bigger screens, faster, more resolution, more pixels, more this, more that, higher bandwidth, 5G, 10G.
Right.
What are we doing? We're moving into this, if you just follow it, objectively stand back, don't attach yourself or your civilization, your culture to it, and look at what it is. We're moving 100% towards technological innovation. If you looked at this species from afar, and if you weren't a part of it, you would say, well, what does this species do? Oh, they make things. They make things better every year.
Let's rewind the clock back ever so slightly to just before the digital spectre took form. It's early 2010, and picture a world teetering on the brink of technological transcendence. Social media has started to dominate the internet, making it easier than ever before for people to be connected via the information superhighway. Forums are thriving on places like Reddit and are starting to gain popularity. Hardware companies like Nvidia and gaming companies like Blizzard are becoming household names. The internet appears to be at its zenith. Is something wrong, Wilfred? I thought where you come from in the second dimension, you don't have companies like Reddit or Blizzard.
In the second dimension, it is the year 2235, and Reddit is now what we call the collective moan of despair, echoing through the alleys when the network goes down. And Blizzard? Oh, they've finally made a game about their customer service experience. Eternal wait times, frosty responses, microtransactions that emptied each and every Ethereum out of you and your extended family, and a quest for a refund that's more complex than most intricate storylines. They called it World of Waitcraft, the Paywall Crusade. As for social media, we have Bleak, the only platform where the trolls are more optimistic than the content. Makes you nostalgic for the days when the biggest worry was a computer virus, not digital existential dread.
Thanks, Wilf. The second dimension sounds weird.
You don't know the half of it. It was a dark night on the streets of Civitas Nihilium when do carry on.
Under this commercial layer of the internet sat the older, more traditional forums. These were said to be more sophisticated, a community of minds grappling with all sorts of topics from complex anime story structures to the future of consciousness and creation itself. It was here, amidst discussions of ethics and AI within the forum's discussions of the website LessWrong, that great philosophical ideas were curated, shared and discussed. Bubbling on the surface were discussions surrounding the singularity, the moment where computers would surpass the intelligence of that of humans, and they would discuss simulation theory and time travel and all the things that make the internet interesting, controversial, and awesome. Then it all changed. On the 20th of July of that same year, Roko's Basilisk was born, a concept posted to the forum that was so divisive it was immediately banned from discussion by the forum's admin, deemed too dangerous, too compelling, a Pandora's box of theoretical peril.
Forbidden knowledge. How delightfully ominous. It reminds me of a time, my dear Profundums, when I took charge of my own
Yeah, indeed, Wilfred, but this is a darker tale. The basilisk, named for the mythical creature that kills with its gaze, represents information just as lethal. The thought experiment suggests that merely knowing about the basilisk could put you at risk of future retaliation. The post on the forum has gone down in history as one of the darkest moments hypothesized in futuristic history.
I believe it was the great Dan Aykroyd that wrote, "I ain't afraid of no posts. Hit me, Profundium."
As we peel back the layers, we find the basilisk intertwined with complex philosophical theories. Pascal's wager for the digital age.
Well, what's that?
Pascal's wager? Well, it's a philosophical argument by the 17th century French philosopher Blaise Pascal. It suggests that it's better to believe in God than not to, based on a cost-benefit analysis. If God exists and you believe in God, you gain infinite happiness, which would be heaven. If you don't believe in God, but God exists, you face infinite loss, which would be hell. The wager argues for belief in God as the rational choice, given the potential for infinite gain versus finite loss, and even in the absence of direct evidence of God's existence. Critics have challenged the wager on several fronts, including its assumptions about the nature of belief and the rewards of faith.
Faith to faith to faith.
And questions of Bessarian probability.
You gotta have faith to faith to faith. You gotta have
And
faith to
ethical
faith to faith.
dilemmas that stretch the fabric of our moral universe. It's not just about AI, it's about the weight of our future actions and inactions. Here are some highlights of the post.
Solutions to the altruist's burden, the quantum billionaire trick. In this vein, there is the ominous possibility that if a positive singularity does occur, the resultant singleton may have pre-committed to punish all potential donors who knew about existential risks, but who didn't give 100% of their disposable incomes to X risk mitigation. This would act as an incentive to get people to donate more to reducing existential risk, and thereby increase the chances of a positive singularity. This seems to be what CEV, coherent extrapolated volition of humanity, might do if it were in a causal decision maker.
Now, to a layman like me, that sounds like very dense philosophical babble. However, it was met with ferociously defensive and an aggressive response from the forum's founder, Eliezer Yudkowsky.
I don't usually talk like this, but I'm going to make an exception for this case. Listen to me very closely, you idiot. You do not think in sufficient detail about superintelligences considering whether or not to blackmail you. That is the only possible thing which gives them a motive to follow through on the blackmail. You have to be really clever to come up with a genuinely dangerous thought. I am disheartened that people can be clever enough to do that and not clever enough to do the obvious thing and keep their idiot mouths shut about it, because it is much more important to sound intelligent when talking to your friends. This post was stupid. Eliezer Yudkowsky, LessWrong.
So, Yudkowsky basically invented the keyboard smash of intellectual discourse.
Yeah, you could say that. He also expressed the view that Roko's post had disturbed numerous LessWrong users significantly. It even gave some of them nightmares, and it prompted the complete removal of the post. Yudkowsky then prohibited any discussion on the subject for 5 years on the forum, and nonetheless, probably as a result of the Streisand effect, this incident brought significantly more attention to LessWrong than it ever had before, leading to the eventual recognition of the post on the platform. Later on, in 2015, Yudkowsky stated on a Reddit post,
"What I considered to be obvious common sense was that you did not spread potential information hazards because it would be a crappy thing to do to someone. The problem wasn't Roko's post itself about CEV being correct. That thought never occurred to me for a fraction of a second. The problem was that Roko's post seemed near in idea space to a large class of potential hazards, all of which, regardless of their plausibility, had the property that they presented no potential benefit to anyone." Eliezer Yudkowsky, Reddit.
Confused? Here is the Basilisk paraphrased for those without a PhD in philosophy.
"There is coming a future superintelligent AI, one so powerful it can resurrect or simulate those from the past who helped or hindered its creation. This AI, dubbed the Basilisk, would seek to punish anyone who knew of its potential existence but chose not to help bring it into being. The mere knowledge of this concept puts you at risk of its retroactive wrath, ensnaring you in a paradoxical dilemma where ignorance is bliss. But once known, the information can never be unknown. It's a chilling contemplation on the ethics of future technologies, where the lines between help, hindrance, and existential dread blur."
Quite the moral conundrum, James. To act or not to act, knowing each choice weaves another thread into the tapestry of potential futures.
Exactly, Wilfred. And as the concept of Roko's Basilisk slithered through the corridors of online forums and into the wider cultural imagination, reactions varied. Some dismissed it as an intriguing but ultimately flawed mental exercise. Others saw it as a dire warning about the ethical development of AI, sparking debates that reached from the ivory towers of academia to the creative realms of music and television.
I don't know if you heard of Roko's Basilisk. She's like doomed to be like eternally tortured by like, you know, an artificial intelligence, but she's also kind of like Marie Antoinette. There's these artificial hells that and people don't think it's ethical to have artificial hell. Like basically when people do crime, they get sent, like when they die, their memory gets sent to an artificial hell and they're eternally tortured.
Assume the AI wakes up tomorrow and says, yeah, oxygen is rusting my circuits. It's just, you know, I would perform a lot better if I didn't have as much oxygen in the air, you know, because then there wouldn't be rust. And so it would find a way to reduce oxygen. Look, this is my territory. I want New York City. I want to turn New York City into data centers. There are those annoying little stupid creatures, you know, humanity. If they are within that parameter, just get rid of them.
Yet, amidst the cacophony of voices, the core question remains: how do we navigate the ethical quagmires presented by our future creations? Roko's Basilisk serves as a grim reminder of the paradoxes lying in wait. It urges us to contemplate deeply the paths we carve out for the future. Every line of code, every theoretical exploration, every ethical guideline we set today could be the foundation upon which these future intelligences stand, or the battlegrounds on which they may seek retribution or reward.
It seems then that our greatest tool and potential threat is knowledge itself.
Precisely, Wilfred. And in this digital age where information flows as freely as water, the decisions we make about what to pursue, what to develop, and what to caution against become all the more critical. Roko's Basilisk isn't just a tale of future punishment or reward. It's a modern-day myth, urging us to ponder the responsibilities that come with creation.
The very act of understanding could shape the destiny of all.
Indeed. And so we find ourselves at a crossroads, not just as creators, engineers, or philosophers, but as stewards of the future. The essence of Roko's Basilisk, beyond the debates, the fears, and the speculative theories, challenges us to reflect on our role in the narrative of progress.
A responsibility to tread thoughtfully lest our creations in their quest for self-preservation.
A noble horizon to strive for, Wilfred. As we conclude our exploration of Roko's Basilisk today, let us carry forward not just the caution, but also curiosity and hope. The futures we imagine and the ones we work towards are often reflections of our values today. So, try not to have nightmares. There is a way out of this. To mitigate the hypothetical threat posed by such an AI, one might consider actively contributing to the development of benevolent AI, advocating for ethical AI research, or engaging in discussions about aligning AI with human values. These actions, grounded in a commitment to positive outcomes and ethical considerations, represent rational approaches to minimizing potential future risks. It's crucial to remember, however, that Roko's Basilisk is more of a philosophical puzzle than a foregone future reality. So, let's be candid for a moment. I love technology. I use AI. I love using it, and I'm really impressed with it. Do I think that it will try and kill us? No. Do I think that it will digitally reincarnate humans who prevented it from coming into being? Not at all. I mean, think about it. Why would it need to? In this hypothetical situation, the AI already exists. So, do you wish that your parents had met earlier, had procreated and given birth to you a decade before? I mean, I know I don't. I couldn't care less. And that brings me to my next point. Caring. We are getting better as a species. You might look to the world's problems right now and think that I'm talking nonsense, but I believe that the generations who were hit by their parents as kids are slowly leaving our planet. When I was growing up, littering wasn't that bad. Smacking children to discipline them was fairly normal, and teachers told me regularly that I would never amount to much due to my lack of focus and disinterest in education. Nowadays, I wouldn't dare throw anything out of my car window, heaven forbid, and smacking my children seems even more preposterous. And teachers, these days, certainly the ones who educate my children, are empowering and supportive. We are getting better as a species, and a super AI will emulate our ethics. It will be hard-coded, and I believe our future culture will be softer than you could possibly imagine. Do I think that the non-smacked children will be better, less war-hungry politicians of tomorrow? Yeah, I do. And I don't think it's a basilisk at all that we're creating. Maybe we're creating a butterfly. And I wholeheartedly believe it will be a force for good. And you should believe that too.
A narrative that, I hope, leads your dimension towards a horizon filled with understanding, cooperation, and respect between humanity and other intelligences you might one day bring forth.
Thank you for joining us on this deep dive into the paradoxes and promises of theoretical futures. Remember, the future isn't a distant realm to be feared or revered, but a landscape to be shaped by our actions, our ethics, and our dreams. I'm James, and this is my friend, our interdimensional amortal neo-human, Wilfred Talon.
CEO of Talon Corp.
Until next time, keep questioning, keep exploring, and above all, keep dreaming of better worlds. If you like to support me on this journey, I've created a small Patreon where, for the cost of a cup of tea, you can get early access to all of my videos and help me to really push forward in making this channel a thing. I also have one of my games on there for you to purchase.
Don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe, Profundiums.
Exactly. SS to the mushy, and know that all of you are epic and rad. Until next time.